Well, welcome to the Park City Market Talk webinar, where you get the latest news about what's happening in the Park City real estate market. I'm Ron Wilstein, broker at Keller Williams Luxury Homes Real Estate in Park City.
And I'm Jeremy Wilstein, the buyer consultant for the Wilstein team. And we're here to share with you what's been happening in the world of Park City real estate. We broadcast from our offices near the Canyons Resort here in Park City.
The best town ever, according to Outside Magazine, but we'll talk about that more in just a moment.
And we bring these presentations to you live each month to be your source for current information about Park City real estate.
We want to keep you informed of any changes that are happening in our market, and it is indeed an ever-changing market. We're here to answer your questions that you may have. In fact, at any time during this presentation, whether you're watching it live or a replay of it, you can go to our question box, which is just below our main screen, and you can write down any questions, fill them in, and email them to us.
For those of you who are accustomed to watching our Market Talk webinars, you can tell that our screen and presentation looks different from what you're used to.
That's right. We're testing a brand new webinar software program as well as a new delivery for our system, and those of you who might be accustomed to it could see the change from the outset. We appreciate you being our guinea pigs, if you will, for the next couple months as we're test driving these programs, and we certainly welcome your comments, both good and bad, as we try to improve our method of delivering the most up-to-the-minute news about Park City real estate.
We will be handling questions a bit differently with this new software. Instead of answering questions at the end of each presentation, which is beneficial for those on the live webinar, but not as helpful for those who watch the replay of it, we're going to respond to each person's question by email after each presentation. This way, whether you're watching the presentation live or a replay of it, you can ask your questions and we'll get back to you with the answers. This way, no one will be left out.
So you simply type in your questions in the fields below our main presentation box at any time during the webinar, and they will be emailed to us. We promise to promptly respond to your questions by email or telephone if you prefer. And so if you do want us to call you, of course, include your phone number below. So give it a try. Let us know what you think about how we're addressing your questions from here on out.
Well, let's get started on our presentation. We do want to mention that just this week, Park City was named by Outside Magazine as the best town ever in America.
I live in the best town.
All right, so do I. They said there's no better blend of small town friendliness, absurdly easy access, and five-star culture than Park City. So pretty cool.
Yep. And for those of us who live here, we already know this, that it's the best town ever. But it's nice to have the nation recognize that fact as well. There's always so much for us to do here. Earlier this month, Park City hosted the Kimball Arts Festival on historic Main Street. Beautiful artwork, a chance to interact with the artists, great music, lots of fun.
And then this past week, the Tour of Utah Road Race ended in Park City. This 6-day event started on Tuesday, August 6th in Bryan Head, which is in central Utah, and ended Sunday, August 11th in Park City after 534 miles of traveling with 38,500 feet of vertical climbing.
That work you like that nothing else does. That's hard to just walk around.
That was an awesome race. They came over Garrison's Pass and came screaming down the Mine Road and ended on Main Street.
Yeah, it was amazing. Well, those are just a few of the great activities that happen in Park City, making us the best town ever. But let's get on to our real estate update. We've got plenty to cover today. Let's begin by taking a look at what's been selling in the Park City real estate market. And the information that we're going to cover with you today covers closed sales over the past 12 months, from August 1st, 2012 through July 31st, 2013. And then we'll compare the sales activity and the prices to that same time period the year before.
All right, so the total number of homes, condominiums, and vacant land sold during the past 12 months is up by 19%, or 210 sales. From the total number of sales during the same time period the year before, there were 1,316 sales in Park City over the past year compared to 1,106 the year before. 556 homes have sold during the past 12 months compared to 478 sales the year before. That's 78 more homes sold, an increase of 16%.
Condominium sales were up by 18% with 588 sales this past year compared to 482 sales the year before, and that's up 86 sales, so quite a bit there as well. And then lot sales were up by 46 sales or 32%. Sales rose from 146 sales to 192 this past year. So sales are up in all three categories. Excellent news.
Now we'll take a closer look at what sold. Home sales in Park City up 16% from the year before with 193 sales during the past 12 months compared to 166 the year before. Home sales are also up in the Snyderville Basin, 363 sales during the past year compared to 312 the year before, an increase of 51 sales or 16%, just like in the city limits.
Yep. And then as we turn to condominiums, condominium sales rose within the Park City limits, remain pretty level in the Snyderville Basin. Condominium sales rose by 33% within the Park City limits with 347 closed sales within this past year compared to 261 sales the year before, an increase of 86 sales. Condominium sales in Snyderville Basin were flat with exactly 221 sales in 2012 and 221 sales again here in the past 12 months.
And within the Park City limits, lot sales rose by 12 sales, 51 sales this past year compared to 39 the year before, up 31%. Lot sales rose in the county area with 34 more sales during the past 12 months compared to the year before. This past year we saw 141 sales in the Snyderville Basin compared to 107 sales the year before. This amounts to a 32% increase year over year.
So all in all, we are continuing to see the number of sales increasing each month. This is very good news.
And now let's talk about prices. So property values are up in all three categories, homes, condominiums, and vacant land. Home sales are up by 12% within the Park City limits. The median home price rose during the past year to $1,115,000 from $1 million the previous year. Prices also rose in Snyderville Basin from $620,000 to $677,500 during the past year, an increase of 9%.
Condominium prices also rose in both the city area and the county area. Median prices for condos within the Park City limits rose by $42,500 or 9%, from $472,500 up to $515,000 during the past year. Condo prices rose by 15% in the Snyderville Basin, rising from $270,000 the year before to $310,000 this past year, a nice $40,000 increase.
And land values rose in the city and the county areas. Median price for vacant land in Park City was $580,000, up 23% from $470,000 the year before. And lot prices in Snyderville Basin rose by 11% over the previous year. They climbed by $25,000 from $225,000 to $250,000.
Finally, let's talk about how long it's taken for properties to sell these days. We are pleased to report that in recent months, properties are selling much quicker than a year before. If you look back over the past 12 months, the average days on the market has been falling both in Park City and the Snyderville Basin. Homes, condominiums, and vacant land combined have been selling 38 days faster this year compared to the previous year. It was taking an average of 157 days to sell properties in the overall market area, and this is down to 119 days. More positive news.
And this is a clear indicator that demand is up and correctly priced properties are selling faster than in the past. Perhaps a helpful warning for buyers to act quickly if they see a property they want to buy. Well, that's a good summary of the state of Park City real estate market. So for the most part, all great news.
Yep, very positive. Good to hear. Now, I should mention that recently Jeremy and Ed Knapp recorded a quick 7-minute webinar. I think it's the fastest webinar we've ever had.
All right.
Giving you tips about how to beat out other buyers for properties you want. With the market becoming more competitive, these tips become real important. And you can watch this webinar by going to the Wilstein.com/beat-other-buyers, as indicated on the screen, or simply click on the button that is going to appear below this presentation box right now. I love this new technology.
And this button will open a separate window and you can watch the webinar after we complete this presentation. It will not start playing until you click start. So if you want to watch it later, just click the button and it'll be ready, just waiting for you.
Excellent.
Speak to you. So let's turn our attention to what's on everybody's mind at this time of year, namely property taxes. So if you own real estate in Park City or Summit County, by now you received in the mail your preliminary tax notice from Summit County Auditor. On the notice, you will discover what property valuation the auditor's office has assigned to your property.
That's right, Jeremy. These notices from the auditor's office tell property owners how much Summit County feels their property is worth before sending out the final tax bills that will be due in November. Since property values have dropped in recent years, the value that the auditor assigns to your property may not be right. It is possible that they may have overvalued your property, and as a result, you're going to turn up owing and paying more taxes than you should.
There are two key things you want to look at in your notice of property valuation and tax change. The first is how Summit County has classified your property. In the upper left-hand portion of the form under the title Property Type Assessed is where you'll find out how your property has been classified by the county. It will either say primary improved property, non-primary improved property, or non-primary land. If your property is classified as a primary improved property, you will receive a 45% break in your taxes.
That's a lot of money.
That's right. You will receive a 45% discount on your taxes if your property is correctly classified as a primary residence.
Now, in order for your property to be classified as a primary improved property, it needs to be a primary home either for yourself or someone else. If the property is your primary home, where you spend the majority of your time, it should be classified as a primary improved property. This will automatically get you the savings.
Now, if the property is not your primary residence, but it is the primary residence for someone else, it also qualifies for this discount. If you're renting out the property to a tenant and that tenant is using your property as their primary residence, you may also qualify for this 45% discount.
Now, in order for a rental property to qualify for this 45% tax discount, your tenant must be renting the property on a long-term basis. Their occupancy must have begun on or before January 1st, 2013 and run for a year or longer. If this is your situation and your property is not correctly classified, there's a form entitled Signed Statement of Primary Residence that you must complete and send into the Summit County Auditor's Office no later than September 16th of this year. Upon receipt of this form, they will reclassify your property and you will receive the discount. Unfortunately, this discount does not apply to vacant land, second homes, or properties in a nightly rental program.
And we have made this form available to you to download from our website. Simply go to the wilsteinteam.com/reduce-my-taxes or to our special website that we set up this year, especially for tax appeals, at parkcitytaxappeal.com. And a button will appear below the screen and you can click it and you'll be able to download an entire tax appeal package if you're interested in one, entitled 2013 Full Tax Appeal Package.
The second important thing to look for on your tax notice is the value that Summit County Auditor assigned to your property. This is found to the right of the property type assessed box and is labeled last year's market value, and it shows the value Summit County assigned to your property for this year. Then, further to the right is the third box labeled this year's market value, and it lists the value that they've assigned to your property for the year 2013. Then, of course, they have anticipated property taxes that will be due depending upon whether or not the current proposed budget is approved.
And just to back up the box on the left, the last year's market value would be for 2012, and then this year would be for 2013.
That's right.
The market value that the Summit County Auditor assigned to your property is not today's value as of August 2013, nor is it the value of your property 6 months ago. It is the market value of your property at the beginning of this year. It is the value on January 1st, 2013. Now, if that market value is wrong, if it's too high, you have the right between now and September 16th of this year to appeal the amount that they have assigned to it.
Now, since the value of your property is as of January 1st, 2013, you need to determine what your property was worth at that time and find out if there is sufficient closed sales data to support an appeal to lower the property valuation listed on your tax notice. You have to go back over a year to find supportive data of closed sales of similar properties that closed during 2012 to be successful at appealing your property's valuation. This requires not only knowing the basics about the sales that took place, the address, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, the size of the property, and the sold price, but you also need to know about the condition of each property, any upgrades done to enhance it, details on the finishes, views, and other sales that transpired. You will need a minimum of 3 closed sales to appeal your property's value, which in some instances are not available due to the slow market at that time. If there are not 3 sales to support your appeal, you will need to find additional comparable properties from neighboring subdivisions, if they're similar enough to your neighborhood or condo project, or similar properties. This can be quite an undertaking, especially since this information is not readily available to the public.
And there are several ways in which you can appeal your property taxes. You can try to obtain all this information on your own, but it's often difficult to get information on sales that go back over a year. You can ask a realtor to send you the basic data, but often it's not enough information if you need to argue your case in greater detail due to weaker comparable sales. You can obtain this information by hiring an appraiser to do the research and to contact all the listing brokerages involved in each transaction. They will typically charge you around $500 for their appraisal. This will give you all the data you need, but you still have to present your case before the Summit County Auditor, and if required, before the Board of Equalization.
We are offering an alternative to this. It's a third way to do it, and it's something that we've been providing to our clients and customers for well over 15 years. For a minimum fee, we go back to all relevant sales in 2012 and conduct the necessary research to determine if you have a case to appeal your property value. If you do, we will then prepare a carefully written appeal argument and present it to the county auditor and, if required, to the Board of Equalization. Our fee for this service is $189 per property, along with 1/3 of the amount that we save you on your taxes. Others offer this service for $300 and 1/2 of the amount saved in taxes, and they offer no guarantee that they will save you any money. With our program, if after completing my analysis we conclude that there is not enough support or data to win the case, we will refund the entire fee in full. Furthermore, if we feel there is a basis to win an appeal, and we present one, but if we are not successful at lowering your taxes, we will refund your money in full. So not only is our fee less than what others charge for this service, but we offer a 100% guarantee that we'll get you a savings, otherwise you pay us nothing. You have absolutely nothing to lose in having us represent you on your property's appeal. We only get paid if we reduce your taxes. You get a 100% refund if we don't save you any money.
And for those of you who may be interested in taking advantage of our property tax appeal program, or if you just want more information about the program, just click on the button below our presentation box and you'll be able to download our tax appeal application package, or you can go to BuyParkCity.com and get the package from there.
Well, that basically concludes our webinar presentation on how to evaluate whether you may have been assessed too much on your property and therefore what you can do to avoid being taxed more than what you would want to or what anyone would want to. We're available to discuss any questions that you may have. Simply type in your questions below our presentation box or contact us by phone. We can be reached toll-free at 1-800-535-0151, or you can send us an email at ron@the Wilstein team or jeremy@the Wilstein team. We're here to assist you in any way that we can. Well, this brings us to the end of the Market Talk webinar. We're glad that you've decided to join us.
And we want to remind you, you can always go back and rewatch this evening's webinar or any of our past webinars by simply going to the WilsteinTeam.com/webinar archives. We have a host of webinars that are on a variety of different topics. They're available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so please check them out.
And our August issue of the Park City Link newsletter just came out, And if you did not receive one in the mail, forward your mailing address to us, and we'll make sure you get a copy and on future subsequent copies.
So our next Park City Market Talk webinar will be held on Tuesday, September 10th at 7 p.m. We hope everybody joins us again. As we conclude our webinar, I'm going to open up our website at BuyParkCityRealEstate.com to allow you to search around if you wish.
And from all of us living here in the best town ever,
Best town ever.
goodbye.